Welcome to another episode of Hymn Stories. In this installment, we feature two beloved and deeply meaningful hymns with strong American roots. Our first hymn today is number 439, What Wondrous Love Is This? The text of this folk hymn appeared in A General Selection of the Newest and Most Admired Hymns and Spiritual Songs, a book that was published in Lynchburg, Virginia in 1811, and a variant form of this text was published in that same year in Frankfort, Kentucky. So you can see this is a text with Southern roots. These early versions contain some interesting stanzas in addition to the three that are in our hymnal today. For instance, there was a verse that started, "Ye winged seraphs fly, bear the news, bear the news." And there was another that went, "Ye friends of Zion's King, join his praise, join his praise." So some pretty good verses that we don't happen to sing in our hymnal today. This text is in an uncommon meter and stanza structure, sometimes known as the Captain Kidd meter, because of its use in an early ballad about the famous pirate that starts out, "My name is Robert Kidd, when I sailed, when I sailed." So poets still sometimes call this the Captain Kidd meter. This tune is an example of a hexatonic tune, meaning that it uses just 6 notes. And it first appeared in the Southern Harmony that was published in New Haven, Connecticut in 1840 in an arrangement attributed to James Christopher of Spartanburg, South Carolina. The text and tune were soon picked up by several shape note books, and they continued to appear in various songbooks and hymnals throughout the 19th and early 20th centuries. This hymn first appeared in an Episcopal hymnal in the hymn supplement called More Hymns and Spiritual Songs that came out in 1971, one of the several preludes to the hymnal 1982. And the best known and best used of those, the hymns in those supplements were in fact included in the hymnal 1982. This was obviously one of them. Soprano Jackie Jostin will now sing this expressive and beautiful folk hymn.
What wondrous love is this, O my soul, O my soul? What wondrous love is this, O my soul? What wondrous love is this that caused the Lord of bliss to lay aside his crown for my soul, to lay aside his crown for my soul. To God and to the Lamb I will sing, I will sing. To God and to the Lamb I will sing. To God and
Our second hymn today is the iconic Lift Every Voice and Sing, widely recognized, of course, as the Black National Anthem. The text originated as a poem written in 1899 by American author, educator, lawyer, diplomat, songwriter, and civil rights activist James Weldon Johnson. Johnson had been asked to deliver an address celebrating Lincoln's upcoming birthday on February 12th of 1900. So he began work on his talk, but as he wrote in his autobiography, I wanted something more. For Johnson, writing these words was understandably an emotional experience. He wrote, "I could not keep back the tears and made no effort to do so." He then took this poem to his younger brother, John Rosamond Johnson, who was a classically trained composer, and the song was born. James Weldon Johnson was at that time the principal of the segregated Stanton School in Jacksonville, Florida, and that's where this great hymn was first performed by a choir of 500 children. In the early 20th century, the NAACP adopted it as their official song. Scholar Randolph Bird sums up kind of the whole hymn very accurately. He wrote, quote, "While there is no specific reference to African Americans, when it comes to the inspiration and composition of this hymn, the genesis and context make it impossible to ignore the centrality of African Americans and their heroic movement from slavery to freedom in a democratic republic that for centuries countenanced the contradiction of slavery and later segregation." So naturally, this hymn has been sung at many important and deeply memorable occasions, including Nelson Mandela's release from prison in 1990, President Obama's first inauguration in January of 2009, and the 2016 dedication of the National Museum of African American History in Washington, D.C. It appears as the first hymn in the hymnal called Lift Every Voice and Sing, which was published in 2002 under the general supervision of our own beloved Bishop Arthur Williams. This hymn never fails to give me goosebumps when we sing it as the final hymn of our annual Martin Luther King service every January. So I know that you'll be identifying strongly with these inspiring words as they are now sung by tenor Matthew Jones.
Lift every voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise, it's the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet with a steady beat have not our weary feet come to the place for which our Father sighed. We have come over a way that with tears has been watered. We have come treading our path where through the blood of the slaughtered, out from the gloomy pits, till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou hast brought us thus far away. Thou hast by Thy might led us into the light. Keep us forever in the path we pray, lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met Thee, lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget Thee. Shadowed beneath Thy hand, may we forever stand, true to our God, true to our native land.
I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit about and listening to these two great American hymns. I look forward to being together again for the next installment of Hymn Stories a few weeks down the road. See you then.